Zach Taylor, I just think at this point, we need a new voice. We need a little bit more innovation there. He doesn't do, what does he do? Like, what is his specialty that he does like well?
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined today by my brother Keenan, joined today by honorary Warner brother Timmy G. What's up, fellas?
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 of the NFL pod. Listen, today we're going to talk Black Monday. Next Monday is Black Monday. It's the unofficial holiday for NFL coaches. I don't want to call it a holiday, but unofficial NFL holiday, maybe.
It's D-Day for coaches.
D-Day for coaches, right? So we're going to talk a little about that, talk about the weekend games, and then I got some prompts, maybe even superlatives, if you want to call them that, for the 2025 NFL season. How we doing, fellas?
Great. Ready to talk about everything. I'm really excited. This is going to be fun.
So, Keenan, I'll ask you this. I was going to present it to you two to give me your top 5 Black Monday candidates for this coming Monday. You said you had a lot of thoughts about coaches. So do you want to like riff off that, or do you think you can get it off in the top 5 manner?
No, I get it off in the top 5.
Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, let's do that. Our top 5 candidates, and we can go 1v1, or we can just give them in the 5 because I'm sure we'll overlap. Keenan, we'll start with you because you seem to have the most to say about this. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So one of the coaches might not get fired just because of the organization. But I have essentially take out the Browns and it's the AFC North. So that's 3 of them.
Very interesting.
I think John Harbaugh, and you could even, Kevin Stefanski just because of the quarterback situation, but even then he's made some questionable decisions this year, but I wouldn't fire him now. I don't think at this point with the roster he had, we expected them to do much and they haven't done much. So, but Zach Taylor, I just think at this point, we need a new voice. We need a little bit more innovation there. He doesn't do, what does he do? Like, what is his specialty that he does like well? Like, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, all these guys are offensive guys. DeMeco Ryans, Mike Vrabel, those are going to be your defensive guys. You have Dan Campbell, those are your motivators. Those are the people in the locker room going to be doing well. And then it's like, what does Zach Taylor really do? So that's 1. John Harbaugh is 2. I don't care who wins this game, unless they go on a very deep playoff run, which I don't assume either team to do because neither team to me looks like they're poised to beat one of these better teams in the AFC, because I think all these teams in the AFC outside of them are actually all very good teams. Maybe the Chargers they could beat depending just because of the offensive line. But John Harbaugh and Lamar don't seem like they're getting along. I don't know if they're not getting along, but John Harbaugh says one thing, Lamar's actions say another. It just seems like there's a disconnect there and one needs to go, and you're not going to get rid of the franchise superstar quarterback. Let me not say a star that undersells how good Lamar is. Superstar quarterback. I understand. And then understand Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin, and he's winning seasons, and he just continues to that. But they had a chance to beat the Cleveland Browns, a not great team. Myles Garrett wasn't like he was going off or anything, and they mustered 6 points. It's on Aaron Rodgers too, but they just didn't look ready to play. That's an embarrassing loss, and that's a loss that you win that game.
Predictable loss, if you ask me.
Fair, and the fact that it's predictable is a problem. That's just a problem.
More divisional to me. We've seen the Browns for whatever reason at home have not only the Steelers number, but the Bengals number and the Ravens number for whatever reason during this reign.
That's fair. They play them very tough, and I completely agree with that. But that was essentially like a mini-ish playoff game style. Like you get the division. You don't have to worry about playing the Ravens in Week 18. You have an older team. You can get a bye. You can get healthy, rested, and basically use that to host a playoff game. Instead, now you have a very tough game against Baltimore and you could lose the division, and you're a 3.5-point underdogs going into this game. Like, not that Vegas lines mean everything and the end all be all, but like, you could have just win the game on a team that only scored 13 points. You've got to muster up more than 13. You're scoring on the Lions. You're playing some of the best football of the season, and then that happens. I get it's a divisional game, but
I would say
you've got to take care of business to me.
I would say that game is
to me,
much more on Aaron Rodgers than Mike Tomlin if you watch that game at all.
Sure, and sure,
Rodgers
if you want
did
to
not want to hang in the pocket at all in that game.
Fair, and you put that's on Aaron Rodgers too. Yes, but I also thought before the game, I've thought that they need a new voice there. Like, he's just, if you're not having long-term playoff success, getting to the playoffs every year and losing in the first round, like, some point you're Marvin Lewis, and that just needs to not happen. So those three. Raheem Morris is 4, even though the Atlanta, I don't get the foul. Like, they just don't make sense to me. Like, they go out there and they lose the games you think they're going to win, and they win the games you think they're going to lose. And this game was a little bit more, not predictable, but Rams came out flat. They weren't playing for a whole lot because at this point, they're only the 5 or the 6 seed with the 49ers winning. That game's pretty much going to be for the division, for the 1 seed, all that good stuff. So it's at this point, it's like, what are they really playing for? But at the same time, in that game, the Falcons still just like, oh, we'll be here, and now we get to play a little bit of spoiler for Tampa. Because if we win, Tampa doesn't make the playoffs. They just don't make the play, even if they beat Carolina, because then it's a 3-way tie, and Carolina wins in a 3-way tie. So now they need Atlanta to lose and Tampa to win. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I love the NFC South.
And then it goes right into my 5th one, which unfortunately it's Todd Bowles.
Uh-huh.
This is 6 and you go from 6-2 to needing help to get into the playoffs is unacceptable. You've got into the playoffs, you've won the division a couple years, so winning the division just a couple years, getting to the playoffs, you've won. I don't think you've won you did win a playoff game. You beat Philly. I think, yes, if I'm remembering, I think they beat Philly 32-6 or whatever. They blew them out in that weird year, but for Philly. But other than that, it's like with the Baker Mayfield regime, you've gotten to the playoffs, played tough, and this was supposed to be a year where get wins and you have a chance to be a sleeper. We all talk about sleeper. I was high on the Bucs. Not that they had to get to the Super Bowl or anything, but be a competitive team and not die down the stretch. So
DOA.
Those are my 5 coaches. It would be Todd Bowles, Raheem Morris, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, and Zach Taylor. I realistically think 2 to 3 of them will be fired. I think maybe depending on if the Steelers are the one to lose the game, and John Harbaugh maybe saves his job with a deep playoff run, and then the Steelers are like, no, then there's Zach Taylor. The Bengals don't make a move, and there might be only 1 to 2. But those are my 5. And there might be other guys out there you feel too, but those are my 5.
Tim, what do you think? I have some thoughts on your list, Keen, but Tim's been pretty quiet, so I'm going to pass the rock to Tim.
I definitely have some thoughts. I wouldn't have the same 5. I think there are at least 2 coaches that deserve to be fired more than them, especially the AFC North coaches. Like, out of those 3 AFC North coaches, I would say Zach Taylor is probably on the hottest seat, in my opinion. I agree with what you said. What does he bring to the team? Like, what is he, an offensive guy? I guess that's been the thing, but he's kind of a Joe Burrow merchant, right? So I could agree with Zach Taylor being let go. That would, in my opinion, if they fired him, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Like, they could probably go get a better coach tomorrow, and that's, a good move. Jonathan Gannon better be fired at the end of the season. This team sucks, and they have, like, decent talent. He's supposed to come in as a defensive guy, and, like, never did the defense look like it was ever a top unit. They usually produced, like, one, like, Budda Baker was their only Pro Bowl level player on this defense. They had some rookies, but they got hurt, and it's been a disaster of a season for them after starting 2-0 and then losing 14 straight games. So I think Gannon's gone. And then pretty sure Pete Carroll's going to be gone too. I mean, I don't see them sticking it out next year with Pete Carroll, another year of, because even if he does improve and they get to 6-11, like, yeah, I think they're another situation where they can just find a better coach, better situation, and then hopefully nail their draft. And they have some young studs. They're probably going to have the number 1 overall pick, so they get their quarterback.
Pete Biden.
Those 3, I think, are higher on the list, but I completely agree with Todd Bowles. I think I've never really been a fan of Todd Bowles, and his big thing was defense. The defense has looked bad. Now he's kind of calling out the offense, and I agree the offense has not looked good, but the defense has not looked good either. So we can't definitely just shift the blame to the offense, especially like the Thursday night game against Atlanta. That wasn't necessarily an offensive meltdown. That was a defensive meltdown. You let up 14 points and a game-winning field goal in like the fourth quarter. That was pretty putrid. Yeah, I could honestly see Kevin Stefanski be fired, but I think they'll just give him a pass because he's proven it in prior years. They know they didn't have the quarterback. They might have a top pick to go get one this year and give one more shot. If they get a quarterback in the top 6 picks this year, and then they go 3-14 next year, then he can easily be fired 100%. But yeah, with Titans coach already being fired, that would have been one all day. But yeah,
for sure.
Okay,
for sure. I do want to talk about the AFC North that you mentioned, Keenan. Stefanski's so interesting to me because I think there is a segment of Brown fans who want him gone, but I actually think he's a good coach.
I agree.
I don't understand for the life of me why Cleveland played the quarterback position the way they played it. They have a legitimate Super Bowl defense. They have legitimate talent on offense. You put even a serviceable quarterback. I don't know if Flacco can be serviceable, but if you put like a in his prime, slightly above average quarterback there, like, why not? Why couldn't you have been in the playoffs or vying for the playoffs? As wacky as we've seen this season be. So I don't really understand it. So I wouldn't put it past Cleveland to fire him. I wouldn't put anything past the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this is the organization that, fully guaranteed Deshaun Watson. Zach Taylor, I don't see him actually getting fired. I don't see him getting fired because
I don't think he will. I just think that he should be. But I don't think he will.
So I don't think his seat's that hot. I mean, you put him. So I'm confused. So you put him. I guess replace him with Jonathan Gannon if you're gonna actually go for the coaches on the hot seat. I guess I went with the 5 coaches to me that should be on the hot seat. Okay.
They should. So I went more should than will be when I went through it. So if you want to replace Zach Taylor with Jonathan Gannon or Pete Carroll, to be quite honest with you, they're more likely to be let go. And that's what I was saying. I don't think he actually will be, but to me, he should be. I just think that they need a different. So that's my personal opinion.
I'm kind of with you, Keenan. I don't really know what Zach Taylor's specialty is, but I disagree with you in the fact that they need a new voice or anything. I think the front office is garbage. I think if they gave
that too, they need everything.
I think if they gave him a team to work with, this team's probably perennially in the playoffs at least in the divisional round. And then with Joe Burrow, you've got a chance at Championship Sunday. We know how that works. So I actually think Zach Taylor's probably at least in the Shane Steichen mold of you can win with him. You know what I mean? So I actually don't mind Zach Taylor, but I also don't know. I agree with you. I don't know what he does. I would probably rank him a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. I got to give him his respect. He went to a Super Bowl, but I don't know if he's a bad coach either. He has some weird decisions. Harbaugh, I think, can save his job. I think he can save his job if they get a deep playoff run or if they look okay. He has here's the funny thing. He has actual reasons that if you want to say all right, we can kind of chalk this up as a wash. We'll give it next season. If there really is friction between him and the main core of this team, okay, then we'll cut bait after 26. Funny thing is, though, he's legitimately cost his team at least 4 wins this season, at least. And I would say the difference between them and the Steelers, the Ravens actually look good in the games they lose. Steelers look bad, win or lose. I don't know. I still don't know what to make of the Steelers 17 games through the season. And I kind of feel the same way about Tomlin as I do Zach Taylor. I actually want to see Mike Tomlin with a new team. Like, I want to see what that looks like. Kind of like when Andy Reid left Philly. But I actually don't think like he's the reason for, their lack of playoff success. They haven't really given them a quarterback in years. They've also ran into Brady in a few of those years. There was a few legitimate losses. I can think of one. I think it was the year they faced Jacksonville and Blake Bortles and that team took it to him. Like, that was a terrible loss. But I think circumstantially, Tomlin's got some stuff you could point out and be like, all right, it's not necessarily your fault. I agree. I had Todd Bowles on my list. I had Pete Carroll on my list. I had Raheem Sterling on my list, but now it's a question mark after last night. Like I said in the group chat, this team literally exists just for the NFL world to just be confused. I don't know what else the Atlanta Falcons exist for. That's not a Super Bowl team, but that's a playoff team to dangerous playoff team in waiting. If you could get a consistent coach, and maybe Raheem Morris could be that coach. I don't know. Maybe he gets one more year out of it and he can get the kinks out. I don't know, but I mean, they've even made Kirk Cousins look pretty good this year at times. So I don't understand them. I don't understand the NFC South, to be honest with you. Jonathan Gannon was on my list. I don't know if I said him. So yeah, I had Gannon, Bowles, Morris, Pete Carroll. My fifth, I haven't heard this guy mentioned. Actually didn't want to put him on this list. I think he deserves a second shot, and he actually might get a second shot, and that's Aaron Glenn. 2-14, I think, as we speak, will likely end 2-15. There's really not a notable moment of the Jets season except for the time he danced on the sideline. Was that against Tampa, by the way? That was like early on the season.
Against Tampa.
That was like week 4.
Week 2 against Tampa.
That was week 2. That was week 2. Wow. Yeah, man, there's nothing you could say about this Jets season that's redeemable. So I would hate for him to be fired, but it really does seem like a Gerard Mayo situation. I've noticed, Keenan, between you, Tim, and I, there is a more black coaches than I would like. I want to see more black coaches get an opportunity. It makes me wonder, like, on Black Monday, are they going to be like, like we flipped to Sports Center, it's going to be like, the blacks can't coach. The blacks can't do it. Like, are we going to see this? Like, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm, Gabby, what up? Gabby making a cameo.
Hey, what's up, Gabby?
Taking the baby.
Oh, man.
The baby.
Violet made a cameo. We didn't even know it.
Hey.
We didn't even know it.
A brief
cameo. So, yeah, no, I'm worried about the state of black coaches in the NFL. If they got rid of Tomlin, Bowles, Raheem Morris, Aaron Glenn, like if they swept them all and then replaced them all with white coaches.
John Harbaugh. All the black coaches.
All the black coaches, John Harbaugh. Zach Taylor. Black name Zach Taylor. No, but being serious, I think I'll lead with this. I think there's always one surprising fire. Who do you think that could be? Who do you think will be the one, like a name we didn't just say that you're like, damn, did not see that coming? Because it always happens. There's always that one guy where you're like, thought he did his job, but apparently the front office did not like this guy. Who would that be for you?
I got a name.
Go ahead.
Go on. It might be the same as me. Go on.
Sean McDermott.
That was my name if they lose first round of the playoffs.
If they don't win a Super Bowl, yeah, exactly. If they lose early, or if they
let me reiterate. I don't want to cut you off. But specifically for Black Monday. So for teams that won't be in the playoffs.
Then not Sean McDermott. They will not fire their coach ahead of a playoff run. I can guarantee you. They are not the Denver Nuggets. And they are not
true.
Was it the Grizzlies last year that did the same thing, or the
Grizzlies
Timberwolves
and the Nuggets within a 2-week span?
Yeah, it will not be like that. That would be the one that I would be shocked with. Honestly, I think Aaron Glenn getting fired would kind of surprise me. I think once this team said, okay, let's just trade away all of our pieces, that's when they were like, we've committed to the terrible season that we're having. We understand. I think load up on some defensive pieces in this year's draft and then next year's draft, and Aaron Glenn could prove himself to be a great coach. So Yeah, I think, dude, it's really tough for Black Monday because
I would say I would personally say I would personally say probably Mike McDaniel. Someone who I thought was going to get fired mid-season, but then I thought by the end of the season with the way that he was able to coach, that I think I don't think it's a both Tua and him. I think it's a you choose one and you allow the other, and at this point you got Tua. But
you
I think
choose Tua over Mike McDaniel?
No, I'm getting rid of one.
Oh, okay, all right.
So yeah, I'm getting rid of Tua before I'm getting rid of Mike McDaniel.
Like, we might need
no. So I'm saying you choose one to get rid of. I should have iterated that, not choose one to keep. Choose one to get rid of. You get rid of Tua, you let Mike McDaniel stay. But it could also be one of those situations where we're like, we're just going new, figuring it out, and we're just going to try something new. I don't think that would be that one. And then the other one I was thinking of, because I was looking at teams, but I also think this would be wrong, would be Dan Quinn. Just because because that one was for injury, but a lot of times that team, as you said, Kyle, they're like almost felt like the most nothing team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I think that they should do it, because Jaden Daniels getting injured is tough, but at the same time, they didn't. They played a couple close games, but they also looked at times too. So I don't think he will, and I don't think he should be. But you gave me a random one, so Dan Quinn or Mike McDaniel would be the two random ones for me.
That's what I would actually say too. Would be Dan Quinn for the surprise one. I don't think Mike McDaniel will be fired, judging by reports. Dan Quinn would be my surprise choice. I don't really have much to add because I think I agree with you with everything you said, Keenan. Probably doesn't deserve it, but you could also argue that he does based on just this season, even though it was injury. But I think they at least competed. They just didn't look at all fun to watch at any point this season, with Jaden, without Jaden. But you could point to that Philly game that Mariota got injured in a couple weeks ago. They didn't roll over at all. They competed. So you can say that about Dan Quinn. That's one thing. His teams are going to play hard. They just seemed pretty listless this year for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those would be the random ones that I'd have. But overall, I to me, for sure, and it might not be it's fair to have this, but I think the loser of the Ravens-Steelers game should be fired. And that might not be
a
like
literal loser leaves town match.
Like, I think it's a win and go home, like literally to your home and not come back. Like, to me, that should be it. And
I do think. I mean, if the Ravens lose that game, I do think he's fired. I do think Harbaugh goes.
Yeah, and I will give him, if there's no Lamar playing, you might be able to say, well, we didn't have our quarterback, but also, like, I don't know. There just seems, I don't know if you guys saw, like, the Boston, I cannot think of the Boston Sun or whatever the name of that paper was, but they had, like, a huge article. This guy who had been a beat writer there for a while had a huge article about talking about the team, how Lamar and John Harbaugh aren't getting, and obviously we don't know if all of this is true or not true because it is a reporter, but it has been a long trusted reporter that's been around the team. Lamar falling asleep in a couple meetings and playing video games late into the night, like that was a problem there. Things like that were it surfaced in this report, and then like it went on from there, talking about a lot of different things. The dynamic between John Harbaugh and Lamar not being like as great as we might think, or whatever the case may be there. So there's a lot of things that actually came out of it that was interesting. But so I could see John Harbaugh going because you keep Lamar.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely not going to trade Lamar. If he really truly does not like John Harbaugh, and especially if they're like a first round exit, or if they're, like we said, cooked this weekend, then yeah, Harbaugh's probably out of there. If he does realize, like he did this past weekend, that he does in fact have Derrick Henry in his backfield, they might be able to win a game or two in the playoffs. I mean, the AFC is pretty wide open. We'll see how the matchups stack up. That's definitely, honestly, one of my favorite storylines going into this weekend, and obviously going into the postseason, whether they make it or not, is how will Harbaugh coach? Because I do think he's a fantastic coach. He's got his flaws, obviously, but if he were to become available, I mean, the Giants, talk about Timmy's team. The Giants would jump all over John Harbaugh, and honestly, if you're a team that's close, or if you're a team like the Bengals, why not? Why not fire Zach Taylor for John Harbaugh? Like in that case, you know what I mean? That's an obvious upgrade. So I personally think, and I think I brought this up, I don't know if it was just me and Tim Keenan, or I don't know if you were here. I would love a Harbaugh for Tomlin swap. I want Tomlin coaching the Ravens, and I want Harbaugh coaching the Steelers. Let's keep this rivalry going. Let's keep the weird split record that they have against each other and head-to-head matchups going. I think the score against at one point was completely tied last year. It was like 179 to 179 or something like that. Can't be it's changed too much. So yeah, no, we need to flip them. That's what we need to do at the end of the day.
Okay. That was what I had on coaches. I just want to think it's interesting that I don't think there's actually it's going to happen. But if you told me the entire AFC North is looking for new coaches, I would be like,
that would be insane.
Wouldn't expect it. But could it be something that I wouldn't hate? Sure. I don't think that the Browns should get rid of Stefanski because I don't think that they're really. But at the same time, if they just said all organizations said we're moving on, I would be like, okay. It's not like it's Liam Cohen getting fired for no reason. Like, wait, what are the what is going on here? Like, what are you doing? So, but yeah, all right. That's all I had on coaches. Kyle, you had a couple other things, right? Do you wanted to discuss?
Let's get to these prompts. I mean, we could talk about the weekend. Like, I had a couple notes from the weekend, and actually, yeah, let's do one topic. It's been a reoccurring topic on this pod. Before we get to these prompts, the officiating. I cannot do it anymore, Keenan. There was one play. Let me look at my notes to see exactly who it was. Okay, so Sam Darnold, I believe this was in the first half. Right, but who would they play this weekend? Seahawks. They had the
they played the
Panthers. That's right. So end of the first half, got close on a third down. Like the third down could have been measured. Very similar to the Bills with Dawson Knox, or it was Kincaid or Knox, whatever one it was last year in the AFC Championship. Could have measured on third. They didn't. Actually, it was a weird play. It could have been a fumble on third, and they ruled it. Yeah, they ruled it a catch and a fumble, and it could have been an incomplete pass. Either way.
Yeah.
They're short 1 yard. They rush up to the line. It's fourth down, 4th and 1. They rush up to the line, so it's not a review. They sneak it. To me, to the naked eye, it looked like Sam Darnold got it. Right?
Yeah.
They ruled him short. They didn't review it. No virtual measurement, anything. Panthers got the ball. We go to halftime eventually, yada, yada, yada. But to me, by the naked eye, I was like, okay, if he didn't get it, he's for sure right on that yellow line. No review, no measurement, nothing. There was a play, I believe, in the Jags game. Let me check. I remember it's Trevor Lawrence. Yes, it was Trevor Lawrence. He was stopped, to me, clearly short. His momentum was stopped. They had him by the legs. He was short. It was clear on the broadcast he was short. They brought out the virtual measurement, and he was not only short, Keenan, he was as clearly short as it looked on TV. Yeah. It was like a full yard short. Why did they measure that, but not the Sam Darnold one that was extremely close? And not only that, Keenan, they made a big deal about this virtual measurement. I've probably seen it less than 5 times this whole entire season. I've got games on, Keenan, all fucking day, every Sunday, every game. I've seen it less than 10 times. If I had to guess, less than 5 times. I don't understand it. We talked last week, Keenan, about offensive pass interference, defensive pass interference, how that goes back and forth. That'll be an every year thing. But measuring the ball, that's number one. Oh, we don't know. Let's measure. It seems to be becoming less and less of a thing in the NFL, and I don't understand it. Roughing the passer, that's a terrible one now. I don't know what is it, the leverage penalty when you you use too much force towards the ground. They seem to be liberal with that, and then other times it's you can hit the quarterback as hard as you want. I do not understand it. It's a frustration for me.
Yeah. I don't love it. It doesn't really leverage. I just felt like they never called it. Then all of a sudden it was something that's just called all the time. I know it's a new, but I just never loved it. I don't love leverage to me personally.
Only gets called in big moments.
That's right.
It's really I missed the game-winning 56-yard field goal
That's how the Colts beat the Broncos earlier this season. It's like that happened. Another thing that I want to just say is sometimes, and I hate a lot of the fact that there's a bunch of that Puka catch just felt like a catch to me. There's a lot of times where even though I understand that there was the small little bobble midfield that happened, you would be fine because it's the feet that you're more so worried about. And I understand that that's the thing. But like the fact that there was probably 9 angles that they had that it looked like a catch, and then they found the one angle where you saw the slight bobble. That to me was a catch. One thing that made I was listening to and Kevin Wild said, and it made me laugh, is like they should have like one like Gucci flag that they throw every year. As the play was too sick, you can't overturn it. And each coach gets one a year. It made me laugh. It was just a funny thing. It's like you have like some dope looking flag, and it's like one time a year you get to throw like, hey, this play was too sick. We're not allowing this, and you overturn it. It was one of the things that's like, it's funny. And if that happened, I would be like, you know what? I don't even mind it. Because like that Puka play really feels like it should stand, because it just felt like a catch to me. Like all of it just felt like a catch to me. And sometimes watching it, it's like, okay, in 2012, that's a catch. And everyone's like, that's an insane catch. So just those little things just get me. But other than that, that's all I have on the you're right of reffing. I just really need the reffing not to hinder the playoffs.
So. Not only reffing, but New York needs to not hinder the playoffs. Like, if it's not clear to everybody watching it, then we're going to have controversy, and it seems to happen every playoffs. I actually just sent you guys a link from the Seahawks-Panthers game where the Panthers get an interception, and if you watch it, it's pretty clear that his foot is out of bounds, but it gets ruled as an interception. It does not get overturned. I saw this on social media, and I just went and pulled up the clip. And even in the clip, watching it back, it's like pretty clear that his toe is out of bounds. And if you just turn the camera to get that 90-degree angle, it'll definitely show you that.
Yeah.
It seems like enough evidence. We've seen it a few times this year where New York comes to a conclusion that nobody at home comes to.
Pretty much.
And sometimes it's because they have a different view that they just don't show us until like 4 minutes after the decision has been made. Like the other team will already have the ball and they're on third down. Then they're like, all right, let's go back to that controversial thing. We actually had this camera that nobody saw. So every one of you was left in the dark this whole time, believing that you were right. But like with the Puka thing, I saw it from 6 different angles and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's catch of the decade, because he caught a dart left-handed on the sideline. Like, what? And then you see that one angle where it's like, oh, his hand's like not even on the ball. Okay, that's not a catch. But for the first 4 minutes of watching it, I was like, Jesus Christ, we just saw one of the best catches of my lifetime. And then that one angle changes the entire narrative there. So I just want them to be a bit more open. If we're in the playoffs, if we're in the Super Bowl, and you're reviewing a call that's been challenged, or New York says, hey, we want to take a look at that, show me. Don't go to commercial break. Show me. I want to see it. This is what I'm here for.
Yes.
I want to see that. We used to always see it. We used to see the ref just standing at the camera on the sideline looking into it. And yeah, it took long, but hey, transparency, we need it.
Yeah, it's annoying. And one of the ones that gets me with catching that I just don't understand anymore, and it used to be like you could not do it, is like if you got the ball, like you got it 2 hands, you're going to the ground, and then the tip kind of like it's pressed against the ground, and you're kind of using it for support. That used to not be a catch. And the times they would rule it a catch is if the ball's completely still. There's no movement. You go to the ground, the tip hits the ground, but the ball stays still. Now there's times you can see it bobble from the ground and they'll still rule it a catch. And I'm like, I give up. I completely give up on what's a catch when it comes to that particular situation. Because, it used to be clear cut. Like, you can survive. If it survives the ground, that's what they used to say. Survives the ground. If it survives the ground, then you're good. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've seen the nose of the ball hit. It bobbles a little bit. It clearly did not survive the ground. They're like, nah, that's good. Who the hell knows? You want to get to these prompts, or you got more to say?
Yes. No more. Ready to bomb.
Let's do it. Let's